Hi, it's Mrs. Mallet, and today we're going to talk about factoring when you have a number in front of your x squared and by a method called grouping. Okay, so first what you want to do is you want to write out your a, b, and c. Okay, so your a is your number in front of the x squared term, your b is your number in front of the x term, and your c is the number that's all by itself. So you want to write those out. So I have 3, 31, and 10. So now the first thing you want to do is you want to multiply your a times your c. So multiply your a times your c. So that would be 3 times 10, which is 30. After you multiply that, then you want to, so now what we're doing is we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 30, but they combine to your middle term of b, or 31. So they have to multiply to 30 and combine to 31. So what times what is 30 and combines 31? That'd be 1 times 30. So we're going to use those numbers to expand out our middle term. And so what I'm talking about is now we have 3x squared plus 1x plus 30x, because that combines to being our 31, plus 10. And remember I said when you factor by grouping, you want to have 4 terms and get your groups. Now we have our groups right here. So now let's factor those out. So what do I have that I can take out of my first group? 1x. And when I take an x out, what do I have left over? I have 3x plus 1. Remember, when you take out something, you're dividing it by both of your terms. What about the back group? What can I take out of the back group? 10. And when I do that, what do I have left over? 3x plus 1 again. Now, what do you see on here twice? You see 3x plus 1. Now, what do you have left over? Just like how you see it, your x plus 10. This is how you factor by grouping. Okay, let's do another example. So now I have this one. Let's write down our a, b, and c. So our a is 7, our b is -4, and our c is -11. So first of all, remember you want to multiply your a times your c. So 7 times -11 is -77. Okay, so I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to -77 and combine to -4. So where my numbers are going to be 11 and 7. But to get a -4, my 11 has to be negative and my 7 has to be positive. Okay, so now let's write this out. Okay, so I'm going to expand this out and replace these with that 4x, and replace the 4x with those. So I have 7x squared plus 7, because my 7 is positive, minus 11x, so 7x minus 11x, minus 11. So now we have our 4 groups here. So now we can factor out of our groups. So now I'm going to take out a 7x from the first group, and when I take a 7x out, what do I have left over? I have x plus 1. Okay, what about this back group? I can factor out a -11, and when I take a -11 out, what do I have left over? Again, I have x plus 1. Okay, so now when I do that, now what do you see twice? You see x plus 1, and what do you have left over, just like how you see it? 7x minus 11. Alright, let's try with one more example. Okay, so I have my a, which is 2, my b, which is 17, and my c, which is 10. So once again, let's multiply a times c. So 2 times 10 is 20. So I'm looking for ways to multiply to 20, but also combine to 17. So what times what is 20? There's 1 times 20, there's 2 times 10, and there's 4 times 5. Can I get a 17 out of any of these combinations? No. So remember, when I can't get a combination, get a number to one of those combinations, that means that this is prime. One thing to look for, remember, write out your A's, B's, and C's, and then you want it to expand out your middle term to get your 4 partners so that you can factor by grouping. Okay, so this method is factoring trinomials when you have a number in front of the x squared, and this method I showed you is called factor by grouping.